Hey kids, how's it going? Mr. Scott here, and I'm just kind of wondering how all you guys are doing out there this week. I know it's probably been a long week, and being at home and away from school and away from your friends, and I'm just concerned about you. I've been praying for you and thinking about you all week. And while I was at home all week, I started thinking about some things as well, and I started thinking about the word faith and what exactly does the word faith mean. And I just was wondering if you knew what the word faith means. I was going to ask my little buddy here, Sam, if he knows what the word faith means. Do you know what the word faith means, Sam?
I think faith is when you trust, trust in something, like you trust in coming, like you trust your best friend to do a trust fall, and you'll
a trust fall,
actually grab you.
Yeah, you're right.
And that would be trust.
You're right. Trust is where you believe in somebody and what they say they're going to do. And sometimes we have a really hard time depending on people when they give us promises or they tell us that they're going to do something. But you know who you can always have faith in? We can have faith in God. So this week I want to tell you a little story about some guys that had some amazing faith in God. Sometimes I read this story and I can't even believe the faith that these guys had. So I want to introduce you to some of my buddies here. Here's three of my buddies. This is Shadrach, Meshach,
and Abednego.
And Abednego, that is right. And these guys were Israelites that were actually living in Babylon for a period of time because the king of Babylon had captured the Israelites. And the king of Babylon at the time was this guy. Now I know what you're thinking. What are you thinking when you see this guy? Spider-Man. Yeah. Not Spider-Man. Not for my story. For my story, this guy's name is King Nebuchadnezzar. So come on over here. I want to show you my story. Now, King Nebuchadnezzar, he sat on this throne and he decided that he was going to make a new law in the land. So he gathered together all of the governors and the judges, and they called them prefects of the land, to make sure that all the people were in the right mindset, that they were going to do what he told them to do. So oh, wait a minute. What's this guy? Here's one of the governors right here. Of course, Darth Vader, he's hoarding toilet paper, but we really don't have time for that right now. We don't have time for that right now. So anyway, the governors and the prefects, they were all told to get the people in line so that when King Nebuchadnezzar made a decree, he wanted them all to follow it. So what King Nebuchadnezzar did was he made a giant image, a 90-foot image, and he wanted everybody to bow down to it. Now, so he wanted to make sure that the governors and the prefects had all the people in line so that whenever they heard the sound of the music, that they were all to bow down. Now, so what he did was he put this 90-foot image up, and the governors and the prefects, they made sure that all their people were lined up and ready to go. And here's the music. I'm going to let Sam play the music. So the music plays and everybody is supposed to bow down. So all the governors, the prefects, they make sure all their people bow down. You want to help me bow these people down? Mm-hmm. Make sure these people are all bowed down. Bow down. All these people got to bow down. Bow down to the image of King Nebuchadnezzar. Yeah, make them all bow down. Bow down, bow down, bow down. Bow down. Is everybody bowed down? Yep, so even the governors and the prefects had to bow down to the image of Nebuchadnezzar. They all bowed down. But you know what happened? One of the governors and the prefects noticed that there were three guys over here, our friends Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that did not bow down. So he went and told King Nebuchadnezzar, hey,
that's Shadrach, that's Meshach, and that's Abednego.
That's right. He told him that these guys aren't bowing down to your image. He said that anybody that does not bow down to my image will be thrown into the fiery furnace. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came up and they said, yeah, well, we're not going to bow down to your God. And he said, well, you're going to get thrown into the furnace. Can your God protect you from that? And you know what they said? They said, you know what? Even if our God cannot protect us from the fiery furnace, they had faith that God would protect them anyway. It didn't matter if God saved them or not. So that really made Nebuchadnezzar mad. So what Nebuchadnezzar did was he came down off of his throne and he told the guys to make the fire 7 times hotter. So they started tossing wood into the furnace to make it even hotter. In fact, they had to make it 7 times hotter, he said. So these guys continued tossing wood in to make the fire even hotter. This fire was so hot. Now it was super hot.
Dad, for that one. See?
It's okay. So now King Nebuchadnezzar went back up on his throne and he tells his guards to take Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and throw them in the fiery furnace. So the 3 guards come up and they take Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego up to the fiery furnace and they stick them into the fiery furnace. And you know what? That fire was so hot. That fire was so hot that it says that the guards that took them and threw them in died going up there. Look at that. Even the guards died. But you know what happened? Nebuchadnezzar came down off of his throne because he had a question to ask. He asked the prefects, hey, wasn't there 3 guys that we just threw into the fire? I see 4 guys.
Yeah,
And they were sure enough to see there were 4 guys in the fiery furnace now. So King Nebuchadnezzar told Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to come out of the fiery furnace. Now, how many of you guys have ever been to a camp out where you're roasting marshmallows and all that good stuff? What do your clothes smell like when you're done with that? They smell like smoke? Did you know that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, their clothes, their hair, nothing was touched by the fire. They were still perfectly fine when they came out. They didn't smell like smoke. They didn't smell like fire. Their hair wasn't singed. Their clothes weren't burned. And then you know what King Nebuchadnezzar said? Because of their unbelievable faith in their God to protect them. Let me read it from you. Let me read it to you. It's from the book of Daniel. Daniel chapter 3, verse 28. Then Nebuchadnezzar said, praise to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and rescued his servants. They trusted in him and defied the king's command and were willing to give up their lives rather than serve or worship any god except their own God. Therefore, I decree that the people of any nation or language who say anything against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be cut into pieces and their houses be turned into piles of rubble, for no other God can save in this way. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. Now, for defying the king and their amazing faith in God, they got King Nebuchadnezzar to tell all of his people to worship the real one true God. Plus, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego got promoted. That is true faith. True faith. You believe in the promises of God. I hope this finds all of you well, and I'm praying for you all you guys, throughout this next week. Have a great week.